What's up, everybody? Listen, this is going to be the conclusion of the Candyland story. I got a couple requests. They wanted to hear the conclusion. So here we go. When we last left y'all, Detective Lemonhead was going to check on Mr. Goodbar at his spot. This Blow Pop had told him that Mr. Goodbar and Sugar Daddy was beefing over some old beef that they had. So they threw him out the bar. He jumped in the car and went to go see Mr. Goodbar. So that's where we at right now. He going to see Mr. Goodbar, find out what happened, see if he can find out who robbed the butter cookie factory and why. So here we go. Mr. Goodbar was sitting at his desk smoking on a cigar when he walked in. What can I do? What can I do for you? Detective Lemonhead began asking Mr. Goodbar about the robbery of his secretly owned building, the Butter Cookie Factory, and the rumors that Sugar Daddy had something to do with it. Mr. Goodbar listened quietly, hands folded as the cigar smoke permeated the air. When Lemonhead finished speaking, Mr. Goodbar put a cigar in the ashtray and told Lemonhead, I have no idea what you're talking about. As far as Sugar Daddy, I have no knowledge of anything about him either. Lemonhead responded, I thought you'd have some information for me, seeing as you and Sugar Daddy aren't really that close. He decided to use another tactic. Lemonhead asked Mr. Goodbar if he was still salty about the money that Sugar Daddy swindled him out of. Mr. Goodbar's demeanor changed as you could see the rage in his eyes. Lemonhead played on his ego, and Mr. Goodbar responded, to hell with Sugar Daddy. He's going to pay for that, either now or later. Realizing Mr. Goodbar had lost his cool, Lemonhead felt a little satisfaction. Mr. Goodbar was upset that the cop got under his skin. He calmed down and nodded at the jawbreaker, who rose up and forcefully grabbed Lemonhead by the arm and aggressively escorted him to the front door with a vice-like grip and threw him out the front door of the club. As he was lifting himself up off the ground, he thought, I guess it's time to go see Sugar Daddy. Now, if Sugar Daddy wasn't at the Crackle Bar, he operated out of a garage 1 block over from Fifth Avenue. He entered the garage where Sugar Daddy and whatchamacallit were playing a game of dominoes. They both looked up, noticing Lemonhead, wondering what could he want. How's business, fellas? They looked at each other, then back at Lemonhead, but didn't respond. So he got to the point of the visit. Yo, you guys hear about a robbery at the Butter Cookie Factory? Who hasn't? Responded whatchamacallit. Well, I'm investigating that crime, and I decided to ask someone who may know something about it. Don't look at it as snitching. Just look at it as helping out your local police department. Sugar Daddy burst out laughing. Whatchamacallit didn't find that statement funny. He glared at Lemonhead. When Sugar Daddy got his composure, he said, listen here, pig. If you don't have a search warrant or I'm not under arrest, I'm going to need you to agitate the gravel. Whatchamacallit added, yeah, kick rocks. Lemonhead walked away to the sound of both of them laughing. Detective Lemonhead left the garage, got in his car, and aimlessly drove around. He didn't have no leads at this point. He pulled up to the curb to get his thoughts together. His thoughts were interrupted by a knock on the passenger side window. He looked over and saw Blow Pop waving at him. She just hopped in his vehicle. Now, Blow Pop, she was addicted to pop rocks, and she was homeless. She did whatever she had to do to survive in the streets. Lemonhead would help her with a couple of dollars every now and then for food or coffee when he was here. Also, she saw a lot of things being in these streets. He wasn't in the mood for her right now, but he had nothing going on at the moment. Blow Pop looked at Lemonhead and asked why he looked worried. Lemonhead told her about the case, but he said he would tell her about the case. It wouldn't hurt to tell her. When Lemonhead was done giving her an abbreviated version of the investigation, to her surprise, she asked, Was this last night or the night before? Yeah, exactly. Why, you know something? Blow Pop began to tell him what she saw. She began, I was asleep behind the factory, and a commotion woke me up. It was voices in two vehicles, a truck and a car that looked like a detective car. I was being nosy and got closer. When I did, I kicked the bottle, and one of the guys came to check on the noise they heard. It was that guy Milk Dud, and he had his boys with him. They realized it was me and waved me off before cursing me out and telling me to get the fuck out of here. So I left. So what was they doing? Blow Pop continued speaking. They were carrying boxes or something. It must have been heavy because it took two of them to carry one box. Lemonhead couldn't believe his luck. He hugged Blow Pop, gave her a $20 bill. Before he pulled off, he told her, "You'll make good choices, girl." She said thank you, and dipped down to the pop rock spot in the alley. Lemonhead sped down to the Hershey bar to pick up the Three Musketeers. Lemonhead, he checking, he finding it out. So when he pulled up to the Hershey bar, these clowns were still outside. The Three Musketeers and the same airheads. Before he got there, he radioed them for backup to help with the arrest. Reese's, Eminem, Milk Dud, as well as those airheads, Mike and Ike, all got ushered down to the police station and thrown into the bullpen. Lemonhead had one of his uniforms bring Milk Dud to an interview room. After checking his landline for messages, he walked in the interview room where Milk Dud sat visibly upset. Yo, I'm not going to sugarcoat the situation. I have reliable information that places you at the Butter Cookie Factory on the night of the robbery. You got anything to say about that? Milk Dud looked at Lemonhead and asked him, "You want to know who really robbed the Butter Cookie Factory? Have a seat. I got a story to tell you." It's getting deep right now, y'all. So now, Lemonhead came out of the interview room an hour later, angry, confused, and sad, sitting at his desk, trying to wrap his mind around all the things that Milk Dud just told him. When he got his mind back together, he picked up the phone on his desk and let Captain Butterfinger know he had solved the case. Detective Lemonhead walked in the captain's office and sat down. "So tell me who you arrested," Captain said. Detective Lemonhead looked at him and said, "I arrested the Three Musketeers." Captain showed no reaction. He just listened. Lemonhead knew the captain for years, and in spite of his poker face, he knew he had Captain's attention. "Yeah, I arrested the Three Musketeers, but they wasn't the masterminds. They was just pawns. The man behind the crime was you." "What? Captain Butterfinger?" "Oh, shit." Captain Butterfinger's like, "What? Don't be ridiculous. What you talking about?" So Lemonhead began explaining the story. Mr. Goodbar was Captain Butterfinger's bookie. He said you got into debt with him behind gambling on sports and horse races. You were also behind on your mortgage, drowning in debt. So I guess you felt the need to get out of debt by giving Mr. Goodbar a tip on the armored car transporting the gold bars to First National Bank that were to be transported to Fort Knox the next day. With the information, you assumed Mr. Goodbar was going to erase your debt and get you out of financial bind. And you got desperate. Then the situation between Mr. Goodbar and Sugar Daddy came up and presented you with an opportunity to rob Mr. Goodbar because you knew about the gold bars in the factory. Stop me when I'm lying now. Captain Butterfinger was shocked into silence. So Lemonhead went on. "So you enlisted Milk Dud and his crew to do your dirty work with the promise of a cut of the robbery. All the time knowing that Mr. Goodbar would think that it was Sugar Daddy who robbed him because of the beef they had. If it wasn't for a streetwalker that was watching you guys that night of the robbery, I wouldn't have solved this case. The witness saw you and them airheads loading up a truck behind the factory. Milk Dud, being a two-time felon, fingers you as the man behind the crime. Basically, he gave you up. I guess that's what happens when you consort with criminals. Lemonhead was waiting for a response. They sat quietly for a few seconds before Captain Butterfinger spoke. He said, "Detective, I was in bad shape. Me and my wife, Sweetheart, we have been at odds for a long time now. We'll be getting a divorce behind my gambling and drinking. I'm about to lose my house. I got gangster on my ass for money I don't have. I did what I had to do, man. I know the detective you are. There isn't a way you can overlook this." Detective Lemonhead says, "Stand up and turn around. I'm placing you under arrest. You have the right to remain silent." Wow, Captain Butterfinger robbed the spot, yo. With some goons, with the airheads and Milk Dud and the Three Musketeers and all of them. So Lemonhead booked Captain Butterfinger and placed him in his cell. Dejected, Captain sat and thought about the events that led him to his current situation. Lemonhead took one last look at Captain Butterfinger and walked off. He didn't want to let the captain see a tear coming down his cheek. The case of the Butter Cookie Factory robbery was solved. Hold on, but this is the aftermath. What happens to everybody. Well, you know what I'm saying? All right. Mr. Goodbar, he was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison for the robbery of the Brinks truck. Milk Dud pled guilty to a lesser charge because of his cooperation, got 5 years. He told on Reese's and Eminem and Mr. Goodbar. He later got stabbed to death in prison for being a rat. Captain Butterfinger was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. The judge dealt with him harshly because of his behavior as a public servant. Sugar Daddy got arrested for a shooting that occurred when a local gang tried to extort him. That was the Sour Patch Kids. They were trying to extort Mr. Goodbar. Trying to extort Sugar Daddy. And he shot one of the thugs. He received 10 years. Whatchamacallit became strung out on Pop Rocks, and his life was never the same. He got shot in the leg trying to beat some young kids for some Pop Rocks. Now he has a permanent limp walking down Fifth Avenue. Jawbreaker was murdered trying to shake down the gambling spot. They found him dead behind the Butter Cookie Factory. Snickers is still hustling on Fifth Avenue with Tootsie Roll and Skittles, flooding their heads with big plans and street dreams. Detective Lemonhead was promoted to captain after solving the Butter Cookie robbery. And Blow Pop got her life together. She got off Pop Rocks, and she's now employed at the Twizzlers working with Kit Kat. That's another story, y'all. I got another story coming up later on. Candyland, some things going on, other things going on too, because Candyland's a wild place, y'all. Peace, blessings. Like and share my information.